because we have a shortage of architects, anybody that studies anything related to architecture right now in Nigeria almost always practices as an architect. So in order to combat quackery, there should be a defined pathway.
People now that graduated with low scores in BSc, most schools now in Nigeria almost don't have any future.
So in summary, you are saying people should not do HND if they want to be architects.
Yes. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at the pathway to becoming a registered architect, from polytechnics. We might venture, during our talks, into other institutes of higher learning, like the universities and others. But particularly, in this video, we are going to be looking at how, if it is going to be possible for polytechnic graduates to become registered architects, as it is now currently in Nigeria. Okay. This is the Architects Podcast. I am Chokwode.
I am Chisom.
And I'm Peter. You're welcome.
All right. So, what do you think about people going to Polytechnic to study architecture to begin with?
In my opinion, based on the information I've gathered concerning the pathway from Polytechnic to get registered fully as an architect, I think there's a roadblock.
Yeah.
There's a roadblock, a serious one at that.
I think so too.
So we'll get to advising people who want to take that path later in the video. But we need to discuss those roadblocks that we've identified over the years.
Yeah.
We need to tear it apart, unravel it, so that people will get informed before they get to make decisions on whether to take that path or just to peacefully go to the university, get a bachelor's degree and a master's degree.
Yes.
And write the exam.
Yeah.
The professional exam.
In my own opinion, the HND people are at a quagmire. Is it quagmire?
Yes.
It's a quagmire. Please, what does quagmire mean? Because we are not even
It's like deep.
Like inside problem where they mix. Deep. Problem that mix with concrete.
Reinforced concrete.
So I think polytechnic degree holders are in a quagmire in this country, and it is not their fault. It is the fault of the system, and that's what we'll be discussing today.
Yeah, because I think when you look at the going to polytechnic to get, the training that you need professionally, I think there are some benefits to it. But then the issue with that is that you need to know what you are doing. If you decide to go to polytechnic, you need to understand, okay, I'm going there, and there is a level in this profession that you will not get to because of the type of training you undertook.
Yes.
So now, if you want to be an architect and you go to polytechnic, I think there are levels way it is.
This particular thing, I want to quote directly from the document, the way the profession grouped different classification for the different degrees obtained in architecture. I think from that classification,
I think this information is very important for you to make decision.
Yes.
As to do I want to go to polytechnic?
Yes.
Do I want to go to university?
We will put this up on the screen.
Okay.
Here on the table we have CADA, architect, engineering, admin, accountant.
Yes.
Now, based on accounts classification, if you obtain any degree from MSc and BSc, you are classified as a professional.
Okay.
Now, for those who obtained HND, HNC, CG, and Full Tech, those ones are classified as technologists.
Okay.
So they can be registered as professional architects. They're going to be registered as technologists.
Okay.
Then if you have OND, ND, and its equivalent, you'll be registered as an architectural technician.
Oh.
Now we have professional, we have architectural technologists, we have architectural technicians. Then the fourth one here is technical assistant for those that have WAEC, NECO.
Oh.
And then we'll now have artisans in the 5th level, and then at the 6th level you have unskilled laborers. So with this classification now, you already know where you are heading to.
Yes.
Yes. It's
because the technologists when you get your certificate from the polytechnic.
HND.
HND. That's the highest.
HND, the highest certification you get from a polytechnic.
HND means higher
national diploma.
Yes. So when you get the highest degree that you're going to get in the polytechnic, what you are going to be is a technology, according to Akon, from what he just read out to us now. So you see, there's an issue. There's a roadblock, like he said. But I think there used to be a way that even after HND, you write some series of exams, and then you go into writing your architect's professional competency examination.
Yes.
And then see the issue here that you people are not addressing.
Okay.
The issue is not whether if you graduate from HND, whether you are an architect or not. The issue is that you are limiting somebody's life achievement. I can go to a polytechnic, and my education, according to Akon, is not sufficient to be an architect.
Okay.
What is now the pathway for me
to make it
to
sufficient?
Now go and make it sufficient to become an architect? The reason is this.
There is something you can do to make it sufficient, but I don't think you want to do that.
Because
you have to go back to second year.
It nullifies the whole idea of having a HND.
Yeah.
So look at what the issue is. Yeah. The issue is that somebody went to a polytechnic. It doesn't make the person less of a human being than somebody that went to the university.
Yeah.
But the law says that no matter the training you receive in a polytechnic, it is not at the same level with the university. I wonder which particular thing they are hiding from the polytechnics. But let's agree that is the law.
Okay.
Now I graduate with flying colors from the polytechnic as the best
with HND.
With HND.
Yes.
And I came out and I found out, there is a law limiting me. The law should also have stated a pathway for me to rectify my education. Maybe a 1-year course, maybe an admission into a university to write a project. Because even as a lecturer, I'll give you facts. Students that come from polytechnic have a higher understanding of architecture, even OND. Just talking about OND now, have a higher understanding of architecture than people that just get into the university. In fact, from an average, most of them finish with 4.2 to 4.5.
Okay.
So the law now is actually against people that study polytechnic.
But there's something I heard about the way they structure the curriculum in polytechnic not fitting into Akon standards or something like that.
Yes.
Somebody pointed it out in this group chat where we are in Telegram, stating that the issue is not from Akon. The issue is the way that they've structured HND. And the same thing is also affecting people who obtained master's degree outside Nigeria. You realize that those people are also having difficulties registering. It's not because the education they are getting outside of Nigeria is not good. But the problem is the way it is structured. It doesn't suit
into the
Akon's curriculum for somebody to be trained to be qualified as a professional architect.
I think
is it that the body responsible for structuring the program at the polytechnics cannot do something about it to help them to be at par with what Akon is expecting? I want to give an example. In Nigeria, it's easy for most people to pass through nursing program and integrate seamlessly outside Nigeria, let's say the UK. But you can't study pharmacy in Nigeria and integrate seamlessly like that. Why? Because of the curriculum issue. Most people who study pharmacy in Nigeria, they get to write several exams for them to properly integrate outside Nigeria. Why? Because outside there, they have a problem with our curriculum for pharmacy. That's why it doesn't. So
you kind of double into the answer we're proposing, because you said outside Nigeria, people have a pathway.
Yes.
Even if your certificate is not up to what is required, there should be a pathway that is not rigorous, that the professional body can put in place to ensure that people that come out from HND and still want to practice.
And this pathway should be in black and white.
Yes,
clear. So that if you are entering for HND, you already know the
pathway to licensure.
But I think there is one important thing in what he said also.
Yeah.
What those people studying in this country is still pharmacy. Okay. And they want to integrate into pharmacy out there. Most polytechnics they offer architectural technology.
Okay, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the answer, but do you know the details of the architectural technology? Like,
What I
because,
know
or
is
what
that-
they do.
What I know is that
Whichever one.
architecture is not architectural technology.
Okay, so
That's what I don't know.
There's a difference
There's
between architecture
and the
architectural
technology of architecture. Okay, so
probably
uh-huh.
architectural technology may be limited.
Yes,
That is why Akon has
in the type
failed
of
to
training
accept
they give
that
them.
curriculum.
You understand? So I think that is the root cause. I think initially they have this exam that they write. I don't know if they still write it. They write finance 1 and finance 2. And then when you pass those exams, that's linking it to the pharmacy stuff. When you pass those exams, then you will
Now
be
qualified.
considered to write your APCE.
say what, according to what I think, because when I was doing my Akon professional exams, this is the hierarchy we explained, because some people came there to be certified as architectural technologist.
Okay.
So in architecture study, the whole design of building from the beginning to the end is management, construction, design, supervision, contracts, everything is taught. But in architectural technology, just as in BSc, in my own opinion, the focus is on the technical aspect of it.
Yes.
So you are taught the graphical composition in drawings. You are taught design, actually. You are not, let's not lie about that. You are actually taught design if not to the power of an architect, to very close par with somebody that has a BSc. A HND person can design. And then HND people always have better graphics. But let me explain this. Technology is wiping out the specific role of an architectural technologist. The reason is this. Building information modeling now and advanced cards, they do not rely on graphics or interpretation of the drawings. They actually rely on professional knowledge, high-end professional knowledge of building and building systems to function. So if you are using Revit and you are the BIM manager, the architect, a HND person that is the BIM manager, if that's our thinking, will be doing a lot of coordination more than the actual person that did the design.
Okay.
And I don't know if you are following.
Yes.
So the roles now are so merged and intertwined that the architectural technologist now is actually working as an architect.
I want to disagree with you, because what I think part of the job that architects do is not just to be in the office doing the technical stuff. It is beyond the scope of what, like, that is just, some architects might choose to do that, but part of the training we receive is to be a perfect communicator. Maybe not a perfect communicator, but a good communicator that communicates the idea between the client and the people working in the office. So those technologists in the office that are doing the BIM stuff, they may not really care about the principles of what they are putting together. All they care about is principles of how to put it together. Like, if I want to use Revit to achieve a design that was like the principal of my office, gave to me, all I'm bothered about, because a lot of them, the interns and all those people, when you look at abroad, when offices like a BIG, you see the concept that they come up with. Maybe Biak Engel may not be able to do those things himself, but those people in his office that knows how to use Rhino and Grasshopper, they will do it, and he will still come and think about it and look into the principles of what is going to work there. So at the end of the day, he's still the brain of the operation, even though he's not the technologist that actually put it together. But he understands that this thing being like this is very crucial for us to get our end goal. You understand? So at the end of the day, technologies are very, very important.
What do you think they will be doing?
Architectural technologists, they are, like you said now, being managers, coordinators, they might even be working on site, on project sites, to be doing one or two things. But at the end of the day, it's just like having an interior decorator and designers that are going to come into the space that architects have already designed to do their own work, or an MEP guy that will come and introduce their own fittings and or structural. At the end of the day, all of them are working on an already existing protocol set up by the architect in that particular project.
Okay. So the architect is the chief designer.
Depending on the project.
Yes, like building project.
Yeah.
The
Wow,
architectural
large-scale
technologist is the technical person that runs through the details
Yes.
and should be. So if I get you correctly, in HND right now,
Yes.
since they are producing architectural technologists,
Yes.
their curriculum should actually be based on BIM moving into the future.
Yes.
But if you go to many polytechnics now,
They are using
They are
hand.
struggling to
they
teach
don't even
architecture.
have CAD.
Yes.
They are struggling
That
to
is why
teach
when they
architecture
come-
without teaching the technological aspect
Yes.
of it.
Yes.
Yes.
When you notice that when most students move from polytechnics into university,
They are good.
struggling with computers.
Yes.
But they are good with
They are
hands.
very
Good
good.
with their
Their
hands.
dexterity with their hands is
Yes.
top level. When it comes to the computer, the technology, the way the world is moving,
Yeah.
they are lacking in that area.
From this
So-
discussion, okay, Karen.
So I think the polytechnics should focus more on helping them in that technological aspect.
Yes.
If they do that,
And we
they will
need
even
that.
be ahead of the architects.
Yeah,
Yes.
they
In
need, we
term-
need
in
that in
terms
this
of-
But the
Yes.
architects will now not do without them.
without
Employ
You
them
must
to be
have
doing.
technologists in your space to work effectively.
You must.
There is a caveat. See the issue with HND holders in Nigeria. The HND holders, especially in public service, this issue started from public service because in private service, HND holders,
Nobody cares.
they practice as, in fact, they practice as professional architects.
Nobody cares.
We have shortage. I won't blame them. We have shortage of architects. We have 200 million people. We have 5,000 or 6,000 registered architects. So it cannot work. But see what I'm thinking. In public service, they limit the promotion of HND holders.
Yeah.
And that is because anytime a registered architect comes through, they supersede them. I understand that the level of training is different, but what I will appeal to Akon to do, if we're going to have an honest conversation, is that Akon can create an easier pathway, a training that can elevate a HND to a BSc holder.
They have already done that.
What is it?
You have to go through BSc.
That is not it.
I think at
Do you
this
mean
point,
they
I
should
think
bring
at
an
this
exam
point-
that they will write?
Yes, either an exam or like a continuous development program. for
Or
them.
or why don't they create? Do they have like a professional body, architectural technologies
before
professional
we
body
go
where they
into-
can go and get
Before we go
registered?
into proposing what
The
Akon
solutions.
should do, let's try to pick out what the roadblock is now. Then when we identify the roadblocks,
Then
we
we
can
will
now
now
start
talk
proposing
about
solutions.
what they can do.
So
Okay.
for now, what is the roadblock? What is stopping somebody with HND degree
Yes.
from registering fully as an architect? Let's talk about it.
I think it's Akon that is the roadblock.
No, that is-
Akon will not
no.
give them.
First of all, the issue. Let's be clear now. The issue is not that the HND people cannot register as architects. The issue is that there is no pathway. So
There's no defined pathway.
yes, for a HND holder,
Yes.
because the comparison. Let's be careful with our comparison. Comparison between a HND holder
and a BS.
and a BSc holder.
Yes.
Because an HND holder and an MSc holder, they are not the same.
they are
Yes,
so
they are not the
forget
same.
we,
They are not
we,
the same.
we agree. So the comparison is HND architecture and BSc architecture. I think there should be a training where we can rectify our HND. 6 months, series of exams, courses handed over, then the HND can be rectified into a BS.
Now, I think you are in the university system.
Yes.
So what happened to the postgraduate
PGD.
diploma program? Because I think it was supposed to be a pathway
That
for them to
bridge.
start, like bridge between HND and MSc before you can write your APC exam. Now, why is there this issue now with PGD? I remember some set of students then who registered for PGD.
They were
at
asked
the
to go
program,
home.
at a point, the program was stopped abruptly.
Yeah.
And they were not even refunded the school
Yeah,
fees they
they-
paid.
yeah.
They just
See,
dismissed
No,
them.
no,
like
no.
that.
That PGD issue, I don't think. I stand to be corrected, but we can check this online since we're online. Even if you do HND and PGD, I don't know if Akon will still register you.
No, that's
That's why those
the
people.
problem.
That's why those people took Akon to
No,
court.
that is a problem. So we've identified the first
yes.
roadblock now that even
Even
with your PGD, you're
PGD
able to get into masters.
and
Akon will
MSc.
still not.
Akon will still not register you, even though you've gotten all the necessary education to rectify that stuff.
So another thing, the university is also contributing.
How?
Let me give you an example. I graduated with OND, did my IT, went back for HND, finished that HND very well with high grades. University would tell me that I have to start from second year.
Or third year,
BSc.
which will still be
Second year, BSc.
Yes.
I'm telling you. Is it not better you just start from
Are
OND?
they not contributing?
Yes.
OND.
Why can't the university put the person in third year?
Or
If at all
final
you
year.
want him to start in
Or final year.
yes.
Because person has spent 5 years already.
In school, and you still put him in second year.
But I think that is because the courses, you know, when you check the transcript, you see the courses that the person did.
Yeah.
And the vital courses that they are, see, I might be wrong. I've not seen
What are the vital courses in first and second year?
Let me just. I might be, like I said, I might be wrong. I might be wrong.
Okay.
But I think when you look at the transcript,
Yeah.
you find that maybe the person didn't do structures or all those courses, building services, all those important courses that, because you look at the courses we do in the university,
Yes.
they are all supposed to help you be a better designer and communicator. Building components and methods, all those courses, problem analysis and architecture, all these things, they are all, like you get all of them and put them together, they will inform your design.
Okay.
Now, when you want to be a professional and you are trained to be a technologist, you see there is a gap.
I agree.
I think that gap
that's
is
why
what
the PGD was supposed to correct
to
that.
bridge that gap. But for some reason, it's no longer there.
So-
I don't know whether it is NUC
So
or
the quest-
the
no,
architecture school of architecture
Some
that removed it.
from my experience in the academia, one main reason why some schools don't accept PGD is just maybe shortage of staff or facilities.
Oh,
That's the main reason. So because it's just an additional load, and we're already overpopulated.
and there's
But-
an embargo. There's an embargo on employment
Yes.
in public universities right now.
but see the challenge here. Even if you, with your HND, have a PGD, and then go and do an MSc, and you go back for your registration,
They will not
they will
accept
stop
it.
it.
I think that's why
they
they.
to write a regularization exam first
Will you be able to do that?
before. I don't know. So I'm trying to point out now that we've identified one major roadblock. The major roadblock is that even with your HND, you may still have deficiencies in order to qualify as a professional. Probably the course curriculum offered in polytechnics versus the one offered in the university. The university may have noticed a lot of deficiencies. That's why they are insisting that persons who graduated from the polytechnic program will still have to start almost afresh when it comes to the
Rectify all those
university.
issues. Yeah.
So that begs on the body responsible for organizing the curriculum at the polytechnic level to step up their game.
yeah.
Because if they're able to step up their game, probably the universities may make it easier for them to integrate into the degree system.
Okay, I
And
want to
also-
ask a question with regards to the publication we saw that necessitated this. The HND people that took Akon to court, and the
Yes,
3
6
people
of
that
them.
but 3 were granted, settled with Akon.
Yeah.
What was the pathway? Was the pathway explained?
I think what happened. I think this didn't happen in 2019.
Yes.
I think what happened there is that maybe Akon allowed the HND people that are ready. I'm not sure. HND people that are ready that particular year to just register and go. You know, those 3 people now said, okay, since they have granted our prayers in court, let's just drop the case. I think the remaining 3 people are saying, even though you have granted our own, there are still thousands of HND holders
Graduates,
and people still in school that is still coming out. You need to give us a defined
Pathway for
pathway, you know, a formidable pathway. And because now when you sue Akon, the Akon Act of how architects should be,
registered.
the
and
requirements.
trained.
Yes, you'll be arguing against it,
Yes.
and it's still there. It has not been rectified. So they are saying that act should be rectified so that they won't have this issue in future, and people won't have a.
And I think maybe this is my honest thought on the issue. We have a shortage of architects. Because we have a shortage of architects, anybody that studies anything related to architecture right now in Nigeria almost always practices as an architect.
Yes.
So in order to combat quackery, because we are so much in this country and we are so very few architects, we cannot use police to police every architect. So in order to combat quackery and make the profession larger, there should be a defined pathway for people that finished with HND, PGD, and MSc to be registered
I
as
think
professional?
I think the way this thing can be even be solved very well.
HND to BSc. Yeah.
Is to now since the HND people they don't want to be technologists again, let their curriculum be readjusted
But we need
to give them that architectural training.
from-
that
we
they
need
From what you
technologists.
said now,
We just said in case you
we
want
need
to.
technologists.
From
So
what
not
you
every
said,
But the
HND
technologists want to be architects.
Not
from what
all.
you said now, is this really the issue why we don't have so many registered architects? Is it because we are not registering persons that pass through that polytechnic route? Have all the persons who pass through BSc, MSc, who are eligible to write the exam and get registered, have all of them been registered? Are you sure that if we don't register all of them, we won't get the number that we need?
That's another question.
That's a discussion for another day.
We're likely get the number that we need.
So I the number one measure, I think the issue with this having people in polytechnic still want to be registered as an architect is lack of information.
Okay.
Maybe, probably, when they are trying to apply for the university, somebody, their uncle, advise them that when you go to polytechnic, you even be a better architect than people that went to university. They don't know that there's a difference between architectural technology and architecture itself. You get? So I feel like if there is enough information or public awareness on this issue, so you know that if you like, when you finish HND, you are still going to, if you want to be registered as an architect, you are still going to
from your
second year.
again.
So the best thing you can do is when you get to the second, that is when you get your OND, you apply for direct entry to the university.
If
At
you
least
do
it's
well,
still close.
If you do well,
It's
you do
still
well.
close. So it starts from second year.
Yes.
Or some school, first year. There's some school will
about
take you back to
people who
first
have
year.
finished?
And at least if you're even serious, you would have acquired those technical skills within
Yes.
those 2 years you spent, and it will help you to survive
Yes.
in
So-
the university.
I remember the
So in
direct
summary-
entry students back in the days that
So in
came from-
summary, you are saying people should not do HND if they want to be architects.
Yes. If you are doing
That's his
HND,
opinion and suggestion.
if you are
possible.
doing HND,
Yes.
you know that you want to be a technologist. And I think technologists should have their own registration.
They are
Like
registered with Akon as
They have
technologists.
the-
As
last
technologists.
time we
Yes.
talked about architectural fees.
You
In one of those scale of
technologists.
fees, when you talk about time charges, you see
Yes.
that the architectural technologist has
As-
a
yes,
particular
yes,
fee
yes.
you pay. So they are there.
Yeah, they are-
So you don't see architects trying to be registered as technologists.
because we can do it and not with our license, we can cover all those skills.
But then it is what it is. If you study to be a nurse, don't
You can't-
apply
you
to
can't
be a
be a
registered
doctor.
doctor. The conversation is not even there. But where the problem comes into play is
Yeah,
people that entered into school thinking that there's a pathway.
Yes.
So
yes.
That is where Akon. Those are the people that Akon.
also
Some
Who's,
explanation.
yes,
Yeah.
because I enter thinking I can write finance 1 and finance 2,
Yes.
or I
And
can
then
use PGD to switch to master.
Right,
Now,
ARP
And
and-
still be
I have
able to
finished my
write.
HND, and you people are rejecting us.
True.
These are the issues now.
These are the issues.
So you now see that this issue presents a major roadblock
Yes.
to that part.
Those
So
ones.
if you are to advise somebody who is trying to
Now you
Don't
can correct
even
it. Now
venture
don't
into
make
it.
mistake. If you want to be, unless you want to be a technologist, fine.
or you want to acquire a lot of knowledge before you get into your BSc.
You want
can
to
decide
study.
to spend that 5 years.
Say you want to
Polytechnic.
study.
You get all the knowledge you need, then
HND,
enter
then come
BSc
back to
from
second year and come and
start.
finish us the way with
And then-
TC and Thompson
and
and
then-
Tez Room and Alab also finished us back then in second year. You be trying your best to meet up. These people, they will sit down in one night and finish
Well,
us with T-square assessment.
That's like now you have, if you consider it's the pathway from HND. Let's say there is a pathway right now. Pathway
Yeah.
from HND is 5 years to get your HND.
Yes.
Then
4 years.
3 years for
Maybe
BSc.
3.
3 years for BSc.
5 years to get HND. 3 years
For BSc.
for BSc,
And
which is
then
8 years.
2 years.
2 years
masters.
for masters.
That's 10 years.
That's 10 years.
2 years.
1 year for
1 year for
NYSC.
NYSC, that's 11 years. Then,
Then
2
2
years,
years pupillage.
for privilege.
You know,
That's-
NYSC and pupillage can be
Can be
fused
merged
into
if
one.
you are
So
doing it
just
after
do 2
masters.
years for the two instead of doing 3
if you are doing it after
you know,
masters.
Yes.
you know, most
No, that's
universities-
concurrency.
No.
Has it
You
been
can-
changed?
If you do
yes.
before masters,
Okay.
When you finish masters and now start doing your NYSC, you can
Yes.
fuse the two.
Okay.
yes.
Then there's also something I learned recently from one of the lecturers in University of Nigeria, whereby there's this issue of whether students can do masters straight from their first degree. So from what she explained, she said that if you did your BSc in the same school where you want to do the masters, you can go straight to the masters without going for NYSC. But if you are switching from one school to another, the school is going to insist that you bring your NYSC discharge certificate before you be able to do masters. So let's say I did my BSc in University of Nigeria and I want to do masters straight away. They won't request for that discharge letter.
So you run your 6 years
straight. Then when you do that route, when you start doing your NYS, it can be counted as your
pupillage. Yes.
The quagmire that HND people have, just when you were talking about this thing, is still almost the same quagmire that people that graduate with low scores in BSc have.
Yes.
In fact, people now that graduated with low scores in BSc, most schools now in Nigeria almost don't have any future.
That's why we always have quacks. So.
Yes. That is the definition of quack.
Because if I finish BSc now and I don't have enough DC to do masters and I'm stuck, I will have to feed my family.
Recently, one of my classmates had that issue. Finished BSc, spent a lot of time, and yet his CGPA didn't meet up for masters. Now, University of Nigeria has taken away postgraduate diploma program.
Yes.
And I think there are very few schools now, maybe in Izik. I don't know whether there's another school, because I also saw somebody complaining in the West that they've also eliminated the PGD program. Now the person is stuck. The guy even told me honestly that he wants to go and do civil engineering. And his reason was that when you go for approval, almost all the stamp you need is from current, the structural engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and then it's still somebody with current that will write on the ticket for the structures that the architect is almost not needed.
You might be right.
It's almost not needed. And there's something I heard. They said if current make provision for registering architectural engineers, that architects may have problems.
Because see, when you look at the PPA, that's the act governing. Say, I think PPA is Public Procurement Act.
Yes.
Governing when you want to do public procurement in Nigeria.
Yes.
I think it was designed by the engineers. I know what happens when somebody puts.
In fact, you know the current Minister of Work is an engineer.
Yes.
There's something he said. He said you can't do any public project if you don't have a currency.
I'm telling you.
You can't take up contracts.
So when you put the acts together, when the architects write acts, they will protect the interests of architects. When he's an engineer, what do you think will happen? They will protect the interest of engineers. So now, if you are doing public projects, every stage for approval and everything for each stage, you must be approved by an engineer.
You put a currency.
Yes.
Now, if they create a
so they are in charge.
Architectural engineers, we are finished. Yeah. All of us will go and do engineering.
I'm telling you, I think there is already a motion on floor now. I think architects are trying to cover their own, side of the day, to protect their interests too. Because I think one of our lecturers in the University of Nigeria, told us that PPA that was, I think, was it 2007, thereabout, was put together by the engineer and one other minister. So after they put it together, when you go through it, you find out that everything, all the stages, everything you need to do,
an
engineer must be there.
You won't blame them.
Architect was not mentioned
throughout the
whole act. You see the problem now?
Yeah.
So when your friend is saying this thing, he might be right.
He gave me facts. He saw that PP.
Yeah.
He gave me facts why he wants to go and do civil engineering.
I'm telling
Meanwhile,
you.
he already started doing civil engineering before switching to architecture.
The guy likes
Probably he has to.
He likes it. No, there are people that are scholars.
Yes.
They came to this life to go to school and study. And they will keep studying. Maybe when he gets this civil engineering certificate, he might decide to do PhD, become a professor or something like that.
I don't know. Then I also read something from somewhere, just all those information you pick along the way. They said ASAT currently, that Korea has over 65,000 registered members. I know those members fall into electrical engineers, mechanical and structural category. But when you still compare it to architecture, registering about 6,000 plus, you see that it's almost 10%.
And so
we stay in school longer.
Before
you get registered.
That's not the issue. I don't think that's the issue. The issue is this: in engineering, the pathway to registration is welcoming. So in such a way, if you finish your engineering degree with the grades that is required from you in your BSc, you must graduate with a BSc to even be looked at in the eyes of an engineer. Just not to even be for an engineer to be mentioned close to you, not to even be called an engineer.
So polytechnics, they don't offer engineering courses?
I don't know now. I have to ask that question, but I don't know.
Offer engineering
But
courses.
in BSc, so almost everybody that graduates as an engineer from BSc that leaves school, let me use that term, that leaves school, university, will have an opportunity to be registered. But we can discuss this in the future, because if you look at what is happening in Nigeria, the university system is set up to produce quacks. I've asked this question many times in my work as a lecturer. I say, what will an architectural student have to fail for the department to withdraw him? Because I'm lecturing, and for me, I'm sorry, I'm not the kind of lecturer. I can't carry everybody. I can only carry the people that
are ready to be
I can't. If I'm in the expressway, I cannot be driving with drunk drivers. The drunk drivers need to leave so that the people that are normal can use the way. You cannot tell me as a lecturer that I need to coordinate both drunk drivers and normal drivers. Yeah. So let's say I have the normal drivers in my class and they all graduate. I still have some drunk people in that class that they will keep failing courses, swindling, and they will spend years. And at the end of the day, that person still graduates. The person won't be able to do masters, and the person will definitely practice as a quack.
But that is still the same issue. Because what we are looking at here is that engineers have over 65,000.
Yes.
Architects has less than 6,000.
Because engineers graduate people, they can register.
But what I'm trying to say is this: engineers has a lot of fields inside it, and all of them are undercurrent. Whereas architecture is architecture.
No, that's why I mean, if you remember when I mentioned that figure, I said I know that there are about 3 categories.
Even if you divide those 3 categories,
like the ratio of 6,000 architects with everything.
10 times.
Do you know how many engineers registers a year?
I don't know.
And then for each, like both of us, we enter school the same year. You are an engineer, I'm an architecture student. You are an engineering student. In 4 years, you are registered. Me, I will have to wait for 6 years.
You can't register in 4 years. I don't think.
And also, we wait for
engineering programs are mostly 5 years.
Okay, 5 years.
Mostly 5 years. But now we may not have all the details of what it takes after that your 5 years.
Even in
I know you don't have the details, so I don't want us to go into so much.
See, we are diverging into another topic.
Yes, but I think the fact that architects will stay getting to 10 years before we meet all the requirements to get registered.
Yes.
It reduces the number of people. And some people might fall off along the way.
It is not the postgraduate tutelage that causes lack of registration. What causes, let me just summarize.
Okay.
So, what causes lack of registration in architecture in Nigeria is simple. If you admit 100 architects from BSc, year 1, by the time you are in 400 level graduating, let's say you graduate 70 people that manage to finish, because sometimes they admit people they don't finish. Out of the 70 that finishes, there are about 20 of them or 25 of them that did not meet the cutoff mark for MSc.
Yes.
But they were allowed to graduate.
Yes.
So those 20-25 people are in a quagmire. So they cannot proceed further to do MSc.
Yes.
And they don't have any pathway now for professional registration. In the past, that would have been PGD to correct that low mark, and then you go back to an MSc and then continue. But right now, many schools are not offering PGD. So those people are left hanging. Now they have BSc, they know some of the things, or a lot of the things architects know, and they can design.
Yes.
So what happens is that they go into the market, and they start working, and they work 10, 20, 30 years. And so now, the Architectural Registration Council will start saying, oh, we have so many quacks practicing. My suggestion on how to curb this issue of quacking is, if you know this person cannot further to become an architect from BSc, let the person not be given a certificate of BSc.
Okay, but that solves the issue of quackery, not the number.
Yeah. So for me, that's how I think we can
back
solve
to the
it.
roadblock in HN.
Forget that it's not a funny situation.
So
having to finish after 5 years in Polytechnic, and you now have to go back to second year. It is not a funny situation,
So,
which is why
if you are to make a recommendation to somebody who is currently doing OND, who didn't have all this information prior to entering the OND program, what suggestion or recommendation can you give to the person who still wants to register as a professional architect with Architect Registration Council?
please,
With HND only.
OND.
No. This
OND.
person is already in OND
Yes.
currently.
Okay,
Let's not
okay.
talk about
Okay.
the HND
It is
because
not.
the deed is done.
Yes.
Just to tell them the truth of the matter.
Yes.
But somebody is in OND, he didn't get all this information now.
You still have
and,
time.
You know,
If you're in OND right now, you still have time. Okay, you have not done additional 2 years for your HND. Just do your. I don't. Is it necessary for them to do IT before applying for direct
Yes.
entry?
and yes, no,
Okay,
they have
yeah.
to do the IT
So,
to get that OND.
Finish your
certificate.
OND and do your. If you don't have time, just apply for JAMB immediately and apply to the university.
And
It
start
will
on
save
first
you
year.
time
Yes.
and money. Because when you finish, you will come to the university. Some universities will not even allow you to start from second year. Because I remember when
With all the mixture of courses you
Yes.
still spend 4 years.
yes. So at the end of the day, it's better for you to just go if you want to be registered as an architect, because there is a roadblock which we have already shown you in this video. So it's better for you to just maybe finish your OND, do your IT, then apply for direct entry. Then maybe the school that you applied to might give you second year and you start from there. Otherwise,
So I
you can
think
just
if you
apply
have
for
a
them.
very nice result from your OND,
Yeah.
some schools may consider allowing you to start from second year,
Second
but
year.
you'll also take those courses. Some of those courses you are meant to take from first year. You still be taking it. You now realize that your workload may increase at that second year.
There are some important courses that
In
you will
first
miss
year
in
that-
first year. Even if they allow you to enter second year, you will
take
still have
them.
to be.
You have to take those courses.
lot of
so you
course
have
load.
like a bigger workload.
Yes,
when
and
you
you
come in that
and you
second
know
year.
that most universities, if not all of them, have a cap on how many units you can take
Yeah,
every
in
semester.
a
So you see yourself
I think in
overloading and
University of
overloading and
Nigeria is
overloading.
24 units.
Yes, you'll be overloading your semester. There won't even be space for carryover.
Yes, but there's something we
You
used
end up
to-
overstaying.
But there are some semesters that you may not take so much courses. So what we usually do, I think in my first year, we did about 26 unit load against the 24 that is the cap. But then we were asked not to register some courses
That
for that
semester.
semester. So those courses will come later,
Later.
or you've passed them.
Yes.
So if there's also that kind of provision for people who are
Caveats.
coming in from OND
Yes.
or polytechnic, to if they are able to carry this, is a matter of whether you can survive it.
Usually.
Imagine taking more than what you can survive. You may end up having a lot of failures.
We can make that. We can implore the university. But you know, usually in the university, it's one size fits all.
There's one
Once they
size.
drop it, spam. That is the rules and
Everybody.
regulation. Everybody must fit into it.
Go and cut your slice.
Otherwise, you will enter into issues at the end of the day when you want
So-
to do clearance. They will
Or
tell you
better
that.
still, just prepare your mind that you are coming to start afresh. Just ditch the program
Because
and
at
come
the
and
end of the
start
day,
afresh.
if you are not careful and you keep overloading and overloading, like you are
You
maxing
won't
out
even
your
do
units,
anyone well.
you are maxing out your units and units. Should in case, but nobody's praying for this, but should in case you have any carryover, that is
Extra
automatic extra year because
4
there's
years.
no place
There's
to
no
put
space to put anything again.
it. You get. So at the end of the day, you might consider just taking jump and coming into the university now that there's still time.
Yeah.
That's just
So I
it.
think we just get your take and round up.
I agree wholly with what both of you have said. Avoid the stressful route of HND right now if you are looking to practice as a professional architect.
This thing might change tomorrow.
It might change, and if we change, we'll update you.
We'll update you. But right now,
For
if
now.
you finish now,
Yeah.
you are going to fall
And
into
you
this
can let
problem.
us know in the comment section what your pathway has been through if you were able to register as a professional architect from the HND route.
Well, for me, I think parting words. If you really want to register as a professional architect and you are in OND, as fast as you can, please switch to a degree. But then, if you think you need all the experience you can get from your polytechnic studies,
To be
feel
a-
free, do up to your HND.
To be a great
But
architect.
just have it in mind that when you still come back to the university you're almost starting afresh.
Yeah.
So it's all the choices that you have present in front of you. Of course, I know you're going to make the wise choice.
All right. So they have said it all. I don't want to repeat what they have said. If you want to be an architect, professionally registered architect, university is the way to go. Get your BSc, MSc, do your NYSC tutelage, and then, write your exam and qualify. So that's it for this episode. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like. Okay, giving us a like goes a long way to helping us with our reach. Okay, to help us reach more people. Okay, now after giving us a like and you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Not only subscribing, ring the notification bell. That's if you're watching on YouTube. If it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, turn on the notification bell so that each time we drop a new episode, you get, because on this channel, our channel, we drop important information and news and things that are architecture related, okay, with a little bit of shenanigan in between too.
Yes, so the school cannot give you all you need.
Yes, you get. So consider subscribing, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Thank you very much for watching this video and listening. We will see you in the next one. All right? Bye.
Peace.